Hi, Layla.
Hi, Layla.
So with the words of Aretha Franklin in my head, R-E-S-P-E-C-T, find out what it means to me, I went on my 48-hour mission to find out what respect meant to me. So I had great experiences, I had bad experiences, and I had pretty bad experiences on the 48 hours, and I learned how people perceive and receive respect. So I work at a pharmacy in Westwood, and working in Westwood, you get an eclectic array of personalities. So whatever customer came into the pharmacy, I showed the utmost respect, as I always should at work. So the best experience I had at work is they usually came in small compliments or friendly conversations, but the best one I had was a lady came in, and after me helping her at the register, she said how she thought I was very kind and helpful towards the whole transaction, and how she loved our pharmacy, and how she was always going to come back to our pharmacy no matter what because she had such great service. So that made me feel really great, because it made me feel like I knew I was doing my job, and correctly at least, and yeah, so it made my job a lot easier. As for the bad at work, I'm sure you guys have heard of the saying, kill them with kindness. So my respect came off condescendingly towards people, so they thought I was being rude to them, and it made them very frustrated, and it made me frustrated, and it made my job a lot harder. As for the worst thing that happened during work, my respect came off more as flirtation towards a coworker, and he enticed me to call him after work and quote-unquote hang out. So yeah, so that was kind of a disrespect towards me, especially since it was in front of all of my employees. So that was the worst thing at work. As for being out in the world, the best thing that happened to me was that this lady at the grocery store, she was having trouble trying to find something, so I proceeded to go up to her and ask her what she was looking for, how I could help her. At the end of it, it wasn't materialistic things that she gave me, which was fine. I wasn't asking for anything materialistic, like a tip or something, but she just loaded me with gratitude and thankfulness, which was really great. It made my day a lot better. The bad things that happened were little awkward situations where you would walk down the street and you would make eye contact with somebody, and they would, well, I had a variety of reactions. Some people would turn around thinking I wasn't smiling at them, that I was smiling to the person behind them. Some people would, they would like look at me weird, like, why is she smiling at me? Do I have something on my face, maybe? And then I would rarely get a smile back, so that was nice. The worst thing that happened to me was I was sitting at a lunch table, and a guy asked if he could sit with me because he had nowhere to sit, so I offered him the seat, and I thought I would have a friendly conversation with him, small talk, but he proceeded to sit down, not really answer my questions, and kind of stare at me while I was eating my lunch, so it was slightly awkward. But out of this whole experiment, I believe that Aretha Franklin's words and her lyrics are great advice for anyone. To find out what respect really means to you is a great thing. I learned that respect is the way you express value and appreciation towards anyone, no matter who they are. But what I learned from this whole 48-hour experience is that there are many downfalls to being respectful to people in the world, but those few really good experiences you get where you feel really satisfied inside really make the bad and the ugly a thing of the past.
Thank you. Okay, the way we proceed is we ask one person to say what they liked and another person to say how they can improve. And you just leave the camera on her while the comments go on. And don't touch the red button again until the end of class, okay? So, stand up, say your name, and say what you like, please.
I'm Danielle.
Danielle.
Hi, Danielle.
I really liked how you conveyed your emotion throughout your speech, how the good things you were smiling and the bad things you were kind of like going slower over. I really like that because it made it not boring at all.
So she communicated emotions well to you, Danielle, right? Okay, improvement?
Oh, sorry. Hi, everybody. I'm Carrie.
Hi, Carrie.
Nice to see everybody. What I might suggest would be movement of your hands and arms a little bit more, because you're sort of doing a lot of this, and now you're sort of on the defensive, that's all. But
And sometimes behind your back. You started off behind your back, yeah.
But overall, that was great.
Let me give you some feedback. You go by Layla, is that right? Okay, Layla. You started off with the classic RESPECT, which everyone has heard of, and that's a great way to begin a speech. We want to have kind of a preview that I'm going to that gives everyone. And it can be as simple as I'm going to tell you about the good, the bad, the ugly, and then do that. And you kind of did that, but you kind of got lost in a lot of details that made the preview a little bit antiquated. On the first story about at your pharmacy, things went pretty well, except then things didn't go so well. And you had something happen to you that I'm glad it came out early. Men are dogs, and they don't really understand respect and kindness. They misinterpret it to mean, she wants me. And it's sad, and I'm glad it came out, because it's something you have to be careful about. As long as you're pure in heart, this experiment works. But I've had, over the last 37 years, many students report this reaction from men. Oh, she wants me. You know, can I have your phone number? And it wasn't that wasn't the intention at all. But that's the response that you got. I don't know about the condescension. I don't know what you were doing with, I don't know how you translate, but it shouldn't have come off as condescension. On your other examples, I thought that the people ignoring you, you can live with that. I warned you that that was going to happen, that people are very busy, and that I'm glad you had a perspective on this, that they all balanced out, and the good and the bad and the ugly, you know, the good outweighed the bad. So you did a nice job in presenting your experiment. You asked if you could walk 3 times. I'd like to see you walk. I'd like to see you walk 3 times, the good, the bad, the ugly,
Okay.
and work this side of the room, work this side of the room, then come back to the center. But overall, you did a nice job. Thank you. How you doing there?
Yeah, I've been prepared and asked about it.
Yeah, you're doing fine. All right, another volunteer? Yeah, okay, and then you can be next. Yeah, I love volunteers. Come on down.
Yay. Next has to come, Price is Right.
Price is Right, yes. Okay, she's managing attention. He's reading or doing something. Clear your voice for him. Communicating respect. Finding friendly eyes near the front and the center. Say your name. Feel the love. Start your speech.
Hi, everybody. My name is Carrie.
Hi, Carrie.
Hi, Carrie.
Hi, everybody. What I'd like to tell you about is a little bit about my experience with the good, the bad, and the not so ugly. When I had received the assignment initially, I was a little bit hesitant, because I had planned for the entire rest of Monday and all of Tuesday to be sitting in complete isolation in my living room on my laptop with an endless pot of coffee by my side. You guys, I had a paper to finish for a class that I was taking in session A, and it was due at 11:59, so nothing was getting in my way, and I didn't plan on having any interactions, any distractions. So that left me with 3 hours to actually complete my project. So I thought I'd get started right away. And what I did was, after class, when we had time to go over and interview our study buddy, I spoke with Josh, and what we started with was an interview of him. And I felt that by kind of turning my body towards him and engaging him, looking into his eyes, smiling, I felt that he was able to open up a little bit more about his answers, give a little bit extra into what he was thinking about his past, his present, his future. And so that was a very, very good start. However, throughout the rest of the day, it kind of sort of went downhill. And though everything wasn't as exciting as, say, a Sergio Leone spaghetti western, you know, it was in fact an exercise in 2 things. And what I learned was that nonverbal show signs of respect towards people that I had already established a sort of friendship or an acquaintanceship with, you generally yielded positive results. But when I engaged with those who were complete strangers or whom I didn't know very well, most of the responses were generally neutral, or I was completely ignored. So what ended up happening through the day was I went to my anthropology class, and coming through the door, I saw my new professor on the right, so I gave him a verbal kind of non-verbal nod of acknowledgement, and he matched that and smiled and said hello, which was great. I thought that was very positive. And I sat down in the row. I gave kind of space between me and another girl, turned over and smiled. I thought by giving the space, I was showing my respect of her personal space as well. She sort of gave me a half-hearted smile, so that was a little discouraging. And primarily my role for taking the spot that I did was I wanted to be front and center. I wanted to be right in front of the projection booth so that I could engage with the professor, look into his eyes, nod appropriately to show that I was understanding concepts, and for me that actually helps me in my learning experience. So I thought that was a positive as well. However, we went to a 5-minute break. I came back on time. To me, coming back on time actually shows respect to the professor and to the other students in class, that I feel their time is valuable. And that was obviously met with neutral, because I was doing what I was supposed to do, not necessarily something that I went out of my way to do. But I held open a door for a girl coming in, and she sort of just pushed right past me and didn't even acknowledge that I had done that. So that was slightly a bummer. Unfortunately, at that point, I was in my car and went home at that time, and I honestly did not react, save for phone calls. I didn't react with anybody else. So what I did learn and take from the entire experience was that I think as a female, the fact that I was going out of my way to make overtures was met with, at the very least, a neutral response. I didn't receive any negative responses whatsoever. There were a couple good moments, of course, but overall, as I said, it was the good, the bad, not so ugly. So for some, it was a positive experience. I think friendships were strengthened, but for the rest, I might as well have been the girl with no name.
Thank you. Okay, where are we? Here, I guess.
Hi, my name is Michelle.
Hi, Michelle.
I felt like your speech in general was strong overall, and I suppose the strongest point of your speech was that it flowed. Like, there was no inconsistency. Everything from beginning to end was just like smooth waters, if I could say that. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. So there was a nice flow to it. Improvement?
I'm Kai,
Hi, Kai.
and on certain like portions of your speech, you gave like a huge amount of detail, which could have been cut down to get to the point much faster. But other than that, smooth as butter.
Okay. Let's talk about the form and then the delivery a little bit and then the practice of it. I'm glad that you modified the good, the bad, the ugly to the not so ugly. That was an interesting modification. So you told us right away in the beginning of your speech that there weren't any really ugly experiences, and great. More power to you. You gave us a lot of details about having to write an anthro paper and being very preoccupied with that. And so that was going to be job one. And this experiment wasn't going to get in the way of it. That was fine. I would only urge you and argue that I would hope you would continue to practice saying this mantra as you walk around and get in the habit of seeing what respect yields beyond when you're not quite so preoccupied with your assignment. Yes, what will happen is friendships will be reignited or strengthened or reaffirmed as you suggested, and people that don't know you will be puzzled or neutral or ignore you. On the in the professor's class, you got the positive reaction from him. Some people hold doors open and 7 or 9 or 10 people walk by without saying anything, and so you were lucky it was only one. Yeah, that kind of rudeness is going on in our society today. I didn't quite get the link to the uniqueness. I didn't get quite your link to being a female and why that was unique to the experiment, but I'd like to hear more of your thoughts about that at a later time. So overall, when you get down to what did I learn from this, you want to sum that up a little bit better, but you got the assignment done. Thank you. Okay, I believe you're volunteering. Hi.
Hello.
How you doing?
I'm great. How are you?
Great.
Hi everyone. I'm Heidi.
Hi, Heidi.
Okay, so we've all heard about respect being a two-way street. So the only way you're going to get it is if you give it. And I feel like it's very natural when someone gives respect, they receive respect, they also give it back. And so respect in that sense is not very logical. Rather, it is more subjective. So it's based on your feelings, it's based on your mood, and all of the above. So I come from a family where respect is very valued. So I'm a very respectful person, unless someone disrespects me or mistreats me in any way. So I have 3 instances that coincidentally happened in the past 2 days that I want to share with you. But I will start with the ugly so that I can end on more of a happier note. So here it goes. My fiance and I decided to go to Buffalo Wild Wings yesterday for lunch. And it was really crowded, but when the waitress came by to our table, she was very kind of attitude-y. And I realized that right off the bat, but I was still very nice to her. I asked her how she's doing. I asked her how her day was going because it was so crowded, but she seemed to be very indifferent. She did not look up at me. She was going through her notepad trying to like figure out a blank page. So I just put that aside and I kept being nice to her and I was giving her my order. But as I was giving her my order, I guess one of her friends decided to come to dine in, and the waitress cut me off during my order and yelled hello to her friend, which I thought was very disrespectful. But again, for the sake of this assignment, I kept my cool and I just continued giving my order and pretended like nothing had happened. And also, I drink a lot of water when I eat, so I asked for like about 5 cups of refills. And by the 4th one, I noticed that she was very like agitated. So by the 5th one, I tried making like a joke, saying, I'm sorry, like I promise this is the last time I'm going to order water. And she sort of rolled her eyes at me, which kind of annoyed me also, but I didn't do anything. I didn't call her out on it. Just enjoyed the rest of my hour. So that's as bad as it gets for me in these past 2 days. As far as the bad, as I was driving home from school, I had called my brother because he was at home, and I asked him if he wanted anything to eat. And of course he was hungry, so I decided to pick him up in and out, and I took it home to him. So when I took it home, I usually yell his name to tell him to come eat, but this time I was like, okay, let me go to his room, let me see what he's doing, and then tell him to come sit down. And then whenever I went to the door, it was closed, so of course I knocked, and instead of saying come in, he yelled, what? So I was like, can I come in? And he's like, yeah, what? With the biggest attitude. So I opened the door and I went inside, and of course he was playing his video games, and the entire time his eyes did not come off the TV screen. Might I add, he's 15, so it makes sense. Basically, I tried creating conversation with him, asking him how his day was going, but he just totally ignored me and decided that he did not want to talk to me. So he did not say thank you to me after I told him I brought him his food and that it's on the table, nothing like that. But I said whatever, I understand, he's still a teenager, puberty, all that. So I told him, okay, enjoy your burger, let me know if you need anything, bring anything to drink or whatever. So that was it. Now as far as the good, my family, we're usually very busy, so we never have dinner together. I'm usually studying, or my mom doesn't, she comes home from work late, so she barely cooks, but I guess Monday night she made dinner, and I decided to sit down for dinner. And when I sat down for dinner, I actually thanked her for preparing our meal and asked her how her day was going. And fortunately that turned out very well, because she started talking a lot. She started telling me about all the drama in her work, and we just got into conversations, and after like probably 20 minutes I realized we were like switching topics and we were just giving each other advice, which was a very good feeling because I rarely get to have conversations with my mom like this. So what I've learned is that some people, when they receive respect, they react very positively, while other people, they just give off negative vibes, and there's nothing you can do about that. But as a person, when you do give respect, it makes you feel better about yourself. And I think that's very important. Like, for example, if I felt very professional, I felt more professional than the waitress when I was being nice to her. And because for all I know, she could have had a very bad day and she was giving me attitude because I just happened to be that one person. But, and then as far as my brother, like I said, I understand he's going through puberty, so it's okay. Last thing he wants to do is talk to his sister about his day. And as far as with my mom, conversing with her was actually, I think, the best form of respect, when you just sit there and you listen to someone and you talk to them and give them advice. I feel like that's as good as it gets. So give respect, be kind to people, and I guarantee you that someone somewhere will reciprocate somehow. I mean, what have you got to lose?
Thank you. Okay, we're somewhere here.
I really enjoyed her speech.
Start with your name, please.
Oh, and me.
Lynn?
Yes.
Hi, Lynn.
Because I think she said it in detail, and I can catch most of it, so thanks to her. And she has a good structure, because first she tell us some stories in detail, and then she tell us what she learned from the experiment.
Yes.
So I enjoy your relax and smile, so thanks for it.
Yeah, and it was well structured, wasn't it? It was easy to follow. She inverted the structure, and she told us she was going to do it, and she did it. Yes, and so that was easy to follow. Thank you, Lynn. Yes, please. Improvement.
Hi, I'm Sam.
Hi, Sam.
I really enjoyed your speech. I don't think there's too much to really critique on, but I think one thing I do would be to slow down a little bit. But overall, I really liked it.
Okay. Yeah, I liked your, you started off with kind of, you rambled a bit about the definition of respect as something that's earned, and stuff about your family and so forth, because you wanted to sort of define it to get your audience into the same space as you were about the concept. Your ugly story was truly ugly and sad, but well told, well detailed, and 5 glasses of water and all. That's, you know, that was good. And talking to her friend and rolling her eyes is, you know, unacceptable from a waitress. But you were pretty understanding, and you were, I am hoping you were still repeating the mantra, "I respect you," despite the fact that she was having a very unprofessional day. On the bad, your adolescent brother on his video game, yeah, my experience has been that when people are in the middle of a battle or whatever they're doing in their warrior life, they don't like interruptions for food, for family, for anything. And so I don't know how he is outside of the game. Maybe he's a little better, but maybe that wasn't a fair rendition of his personality. I don't know. But at least you understood that that wasn't an optimal time for him. On your mother, I very much like the story of how so much came out and she shared so much with you, and you used the expression, "This is as good as it gets." And that was what I wanted to hear, because that's the kind of thing that respect and a respectful attitude will bring out and promote, and so that's good. What you learned was well reported, and your conclusion was fine. I like the way you structured it. It was very clear and easy to follow, so you did a super job. Thank you. How many minutes have we used?
It's how past the 26 minutes.
26 minutes, okay.
Yeah, maybe only 20
this only gives us about... You want to go next?
No, I haven't.
Oh, that's right. Okay, who wants to go next? Yeah, back there. Here we go. Yeah, we love volunteers. So you're getting the hang of it? You're getting the idea of it? The speech?
Yeah.
You get the idea of it?
Yeah.
Yeah. You gave me your paper?
Yes.
Okay, Hannah, yeah.
Hi everyone, I'm Hannah.
Hi, Hannah.
So today I'm going to share with you my experience with the respect exercise, and it was about, communicating respect to everyone I met for 48 hours. And for me, this came in different ways and in different situations, and I'll take you through the good, the bad, and the ugly. So I'll start with the good. I tried communicating respect to my husband, and I did that by being a better listener. So I tried to show him my, full attention, full focus while he's talking, and, I tried not to think about other things. And I think he, felt appreciated, valued, respected, and I think it made for a better connection for our relationship. My next example is with my apartment manager, Armando. Usually I'll run into him about once a week as he's, cleaning the building or fixing something, and we'll say a quick hello and part ways. But this time, I made an effort to stop in my tracks, give him eye contact, say hello, how's it going? And I think at first he was a little bit taken aback because he didn't expect it, but I think in the end he appreciated it, because usually when we have longer conversations, it's because something is broken in my apartment that needs to be fixed. But I think he appreciated the fact that I was just getting to know him. And I think in general, people responded pretty favorably, and it was well received. So now that I've taken you through the good, I'll take you through the bad. The bad is that sometimes, even though you're trying to show respect, it's not always noticed or received. So the cashier at Trader Joe's, I think I was trying to say, hi, how's your day going? But she must have been having a bad day, or she was thinking about something else, but she was very curt. She wasn't really interested, and you can just tell that she wanted to get this transaction over with and move on to the next customer. So sometimes, even though you want to be respectful, it's not always reciprocated or received, but you can't really take it personally. So the ugly is when I try to apply this mindset as a driver in LA. And the good is that, I recognize, okay, there's human beings behind the wheel that need to be respected, and they're not all there to get in my way. But the ugly is that despite the fact that you're trying to be respectful, people will still cut you off and put you in very frustrating situations, so it gets very challenging to maintain that level of respect for them. So now that I've taken you through the good, the bad, and the ugly, and shown you different ways I've expressed that,
I can say that overall it was a very positive experience, and that people, liked being respected, and I think this mentality is worth pursuing, in the long run. And I can definitely say that the good outweighed the bad.
Thank you, Hannah.
Hi, everyone. I'm Josh.
Hi, Josh.
I really liked Kyle's speech because it was really structured, and I thought it was really easy to follow. Like, you talked about introduction, and then you went into the good, and then talked about the good, and then you went to say, okay, now I'm going to talk about the bad, and then you proceeded to talk about the bad. So I feel like it would be really difficult for anyone to get lost when you introduce it.
Thank you.
Right, it's a title from a Clint Eastwood movie, but it's an easy pattern of organization too. It's a very natural one for this assignment. Improvement? Yeah.
Hi, I'm Kate.
What's your name?
I like the
What's your name?
Kate.
Kate. Hi, Kate.
Hi. I like the experience you share with us, and I think you should be ask more about the details because it's a little short for to speaking, but I like your summary of the good and bad and different things you share with us.
Right, let's start with that, Hannah. I thought it would have been interesting to hear about the details of the ugly. You were on the Hollywood freeway, and a big four-wheeler cut you off and put you in a ditch, and you had to crawl out of the bushes, and blah blah blah. Just more details about what exactly happened would have been good. But overall, I really liked your speech. I like the fact that you used it for interpersonal communication with your husband. That was good. You talked about the indifference that you got at Trader Joe's and other places, and that's going to happen. That's the reality of it. And just more details of what happened with the ugly to make your storytelling a little more vivid would have been good. But overall, you did a really excellent job. You're very fluid, and you were easy to follow. So thank you. Okay, next. Yes, come on down. Who are you next? Okay, you'll go next, right? Okay. Hi.
Hi everybody, I'm Etienne.
Hi, Etienne.
So last class we tried to give a definition of respect, and it was kind of hard, and I thought it would be helpful to put words on paper and try to get my ideas going. And for me, respect is about showing recognition or appreciation to somebody or something. And respect is really about I would say that to not disturb somebody in what he's doing, and even further to have a positive influence on what he's doing, bring a positive vibe. In our society today, I think respect is not due to each other, but I would say it is very necessary for everybody in order to interact. And I think it's our duty to really go towards each other to try to give respect. Unfortunately, nowadays, I feel like we're a lot self-absorbed. It's easy to blame on technology that we're always close to others and that we're not very open. But I think we just have to take a step forward. But it is what it is. So for the purpose of this exercise, I went outside, and for 48 hours I tried to give nonverbal communication and respect to everybody I met. It's actually the second time I'm doing this exercise because I took this class for a week, the last summer session, so it was kind of funny to do it all over again. I'm going to start with the good, and then go with the bad, and finally end up with the ugly. So let's start with the good. So, like I said, respect is most likely going to create a positive vibe, and when you show respect, you're most likely going to get respect back, and that's something that feels good. So, after class, I start walking around, and as I was crossing strangers, I was trying to make eye contact, and once I got this eye contact, I was trying to say to myself, I respect you, like we did in class. And at the same time, I was like nodding my head or giving like, you know, I respect you. And that person was most likely, after eye contact, they were most likely doing the same thing, which is nodding their head back, smile, like, hey, you know. And I did the same thing when I was going home with people I know. And I noticed that like you learn to appreciate people even more because you pay attention to details. So I was with my roommate, I was paying attention to what he was doing, and I felt like I was respecting like even more. And it felt good. So this was a really good part of the experiment. The problem is, as I was mostly interacting with a lot of strangers, and here's the bad about this experiment, people were not really trying to have eye contact with me. So the problem was I was